All right, Shalom. I want to start out by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Shemal Shah, by Shemar Dash, double honor to the apostle, and as a great millstone. Shalom to all the Akim pushing the word of sincerity and in truth. Yeah, and I wanted to do this lesson on these, the Gadites and the atrocities that they suffer. Thanksgiving is around the corner, and get you in the spirit of Gad, thinking about the hell that Gad actually had to undergo in this time. A few hundred years ago. Around the what would I say? Around 1400s, of course. Well, they got it was started off on this 1776, but of course, you had the 1600s. I think 1610 to be exact, when they landed in Virginia, the British landed for Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. And prior to that, of course, 1492, you had the Christopher Columbus and the the Spanish conquistadors actually making their way to the Americas, Hispaniola, that, things of that nature. And then they started to gain territory, when you go into the Mayan and the Incan wars. And Lord willing, I might do a lesson on all that, go through the Mayan wars and the Incan wars and all the Aztec wars. And following up, you see that the British, and you also had the Portuguese, you had the Dutch, these different devils starting to come to the next side of the earth and started to claim territories. And now you have today, North Central South America, which is a lot of its territory of either Britain, America got their independence. So it's a lot of its territory of the United States of America, which broke out of Britain. Came out of Britain in 1776, got their independence. And it's the Spanish, the French, and Portuguese, so on and so forth. All these different devils got their different plots of lands here in America. And you see this chart, Native American land stolen since 1776. And you have the red highlighted, which is the native lands. And you have the Esau being the white. And you see 1776, you have the colonies being established, and if I'm not mistaken, that's a portion of Texas, and Louisiana, which the French started to gain territory in Louisiana. And of course, Texas was even really so-called Aztec territory, or the Mexicans, all right, Mexican Texas, so to speak. Then they started to gain more weight. And, of course, with the French, they had the Louisiana Purchase. That's why in 1850, you see majority of the, Louisiana upwards is basically being taken over. And you see what the Gadites started to lose, which are the Native Americans, started to lose more and more of their plots and settlements within the Americas, man. Like I said, the British and their colonizing these different areas, the red started to shrivel up more and more. And then, of course, what you had, the different Indian removal acts, you had the different Seminole wars to take place of the five native tribes, which I think was the Cherokee, the Chickasaw, the Choctaw, I think the Seminole, and I think I said the Chickasaw already. The Creek. All right, those were the five natives, which here in Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, those were some of the major territories that the natives actually lived in. And we're familiar with that history, of course, in Georgia, because, hey, we stay here, and all throughout, you had the different native tribes, you had the Navajo, you had all kind of different natives, and they lived in these different areas. And you see the white man started to take over more and more and more. He didn't just get satisfied with this. Look at 1850. They basically had half of the United States, which, you own that big portion of the United States. You good. Think about these different states alone. Georgia here is huge. Texas is huge. Florida, the East Coast is huge. You know, now, and I say Georgia in particular because it's like, hell, we stay here and it's like, or I stay here in particular. When you think about it, it's like when you stay in your state, you be like, man, I haven't even been throughout my whole state. I only been to certain little spots within the state. You never really actually been all around your whole state. And to actually have Esau take over this much territory and then not be satisfied. The scriptures speak about the heart of them they're not satisfied, man. All right, 1894, look at that. It's only a few Native American spots within the world, man. They basically got the whole land stolen. And we're familiar with that today. We live in the United States of America. It's not the United States of Native Americans, all right, or the United States of Gad, all right. It's the United States of America, which is named after a so-called white man, Amerigo Vespucci. But it's just bedazzling, to say the least, to see how they just sucked up Native American territories, you know, and to the point where, and I always say, you don't even see natives like that anymore. You know, it's a rare phenomenon. It's damn near like, you know, like an eclipse. You know, if you ain't living in these different areas, you know, it says 2017. If you ain't living into these 2017 areas with the red dots, you rarely see natives, man. You know, it might be certain states where, you know, brothers might see a few of them here and there, but, you know, Gad has been totally broken down as a nation, man. And this devil didn't have no forgiveness. Hell, and when you even, you know, zoom in, so to speak, just using that for narration purposes, but zoom in into these different areas and really look at to where they live at in these different cities. They live in shitholes, excuse my French. They live in the worst places of the states that they're in. They live by major areas that's contaminated by smog, dust, you know, coal rigs, so to speak, like in the Vegas Strip over there in Nevada. You know, this plot particular, you had, and I watched a documentary on these, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, this area, these 4 states. I forget exactly where they was, these 4 states in particular. Yeah, excuse me on my maps. I gotta stay on point with that. But really, when you deal with it, you know, you have Nevada and these different regions. I could actually pull up a U.S. map and actually, you know, hit them up, but I don't really feel like doing all that. That's, well, they got one right here, but I think it's going to Gadites land. But the point is, matter of fact, let me type it in. U.S. map. When you go into these 4 states, yeah, Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, and Colorado, and them staying in the middle. And even though over there in Nevada, you know, they stay in the worst places, and they power these different states, man, through coal. All right, it's a documentary on Vox that says "Cursed by Coal," and you see Las Vegas, and you see really these different areas are really a damn desert. And when you go to their cities, they're highly energized. You know, it takes a lot to power these states on, you know, and it takes the death of many for individuals to celebrate. And then you'll see these different areas of people partying all over the place, and then you'll see in the background people that's being decimated. And who are those being destroyed? You Native Americans. All right, and that's why the Lord is lifting up a standard in these times now to rescue the remnants of those that scattered, the ones that's been oppressed, beaten down, and battered. You know, and you know, you feel for Jake, man. You feel for the tribes. I definitely do. You know, when you see the hell that our people has actually been going through, they had to undergo. Blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, man. Which, Lord willing, I'll you know, keep going into certain segments of history of just Jake just being denied everything, man. So-called sovereignty, which this is not our rest, so we shouldn't be looking for these things anyways, but it just shows you this man does not care about you whatsoever. And even when you go into a few of these other images I was looking into, you see they actually, you know, taking advantage of the Native Americans, pawning off their lands. And if you were an English settler and you had a you know, a good amount of revenue, you could actually live lucratively. You could actually own native slaves. You know, you could actually own big portions of the land. actually gain cash crops. If you had money, you could actually purchase slaves. You could do the damn thing, man. You know, and if you were a Native American or a Latino, and later on being a black in the 1600s, the worst place you wanted to be was in America. You see, especially you Native Americans, you would be in one part of the land and they would push you to the next part, and you'd be over there for a little bit and they push you over there and push you over there and you got to go over there. And that's where you have these different reservations, and that's why you see these Native Americans are highly depressed. They drink rubbing alcohol. They drink not only rubbing alcohol, of course, they drink regular alcohol and drink themselves into a damn to sleep. They eat some of the worst. They look how COVID is the coronavirus has affected the Native American areas, man. And I think if I'm not mistaken, this might be the California Gold Rush, or it says Grand Rush for the Indian Territory. More so-called publications and things that came out because it was really a hunt for this land, man. Indian land in county valued at $83,000, sold on May 3rd. Look at this stuff, man. Which get a couple clips and send it to a couple brothers. But look at Indian land for sale. This is ridiculous. And you think this devil shouldn't pay for these things? Now we're in 2020. Now everything is just peace, love. All right. And everything is back to normal. Nah, the Lord said He requires that which is past. The Lord doesn't forget. And look, if everything was peaceful, in order to restore peace, you have to restore a people's land. All right, you're supposed to restore people's nationality, restore people's heritage. They're not restoring any of these things. If anything, they're looking to take over the little bit that they actually have left. And if they do live in these reservations, that's because they don't want them. I seen that even a documentary that's talking about certain areas that America could have took on over, but they didn't want to because they didn't want them. They didn't see the value of them. They didn't see that it actually was an asset to what they were trying to build, so they just left it alone. All right, so the white man is a devil, whether you like it or believe it or not, man. All right, it's too much history, it's too much articles, too many people that came out that actually show the history of this white man as being such a cruel beast, to deny the facts that he is the enemy, all right, and that he is the devil. All right, the devil means deceiver, a liar. Hell, in 2020, people just live oblivious. They forget, that's why tomorrow is going to be a national holiday. Everybody gets a day off. Everybody gets to celebrate. And they think that, all right, Thanksgiving was a day that pilgrims and natives actually got to sit down and eat good and we're at peace. And not thinking forward from there, they were still stealing more lands even unto this day, man. All right. You natives especially should be pissed off with today and tomorrow and the rest of the week and the rest of the year. Pissed off with America. Like I said, the Lord requires that which is past, man. You're not supposed to be forgetting and forgiving and, like I said, forgetting. The Lord wants judgment. The Lord wants blood. Job 24:2. Start at verse 1. Why seeing times are not hidden from the Almighty, do they that know him not see his days? Some remove the landmarks, they violently take away flocks and feed thereof. They drive away the asses of the fatherless, they take the widow's ox for a pledge. Right, and a landmark is where people, lands that they're native to, and you have people such as the thief, pursuing John 10:10, the thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. When the white man came to these lands, he came not only to steal, but to kill and destroy. You even see certain things where they actually had the dogs that would be sicked upon the natives, and they would basically tear their asses up. And I was reading certain things. They would grind up certain natives, and they would feed them to dogs as damn dog food. That's not far-fetched, knowing the nature of this man. And it says they take away the flocks. So anything that the natives actually had, domestically, they would take it away. They would run it away so that the natives could starve to death. That's why you have smallpox. I think you have influenza. You had all these different sicknesses that the natives were cursed by. And you even see bones, literal bones stacked up of oxen and things of that nature, from the white man actually killing these animals deliberately, shooting them in the head, just killing them by the herds, so that they could actually curse the native food supply. That's a form of taking away the flocks and the feed thereof. They drive away the ass of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox for a pledge. And that's not talking about us. We never had the power to do these things, man. We're not killing our food supplies. The white man is. You know, you have these different individuals that's poachers and things of that nature, you know, to go around and just kill animals that shouldn't even be touched, you know. And that's why you have in today's time, which is a new thing, which is an endangered species. The reason why majority of these animals are endangered because the white man and these heathen tribes. They turn the needy out of the way, the poor of the earth hide themselves together. Right, and this is the time where we hiding ourselves together, man. That's why the scriptures speak about how Judah and Israel were oppressed together. We're oppressed together, and we hide ourselves together. And we should be resting under the umbrella and under the wing of the Lord, because the Lord is there to protect us and fight against our enemy. Behold, as wild asses in the desert go they forth to their work, rising betimes for a prey. The wilderness yield of food for them and for their children. They reap every one his corn in the field, and they gather the vintage of the wicked. They cause the naked to lodge without clothing. They have no covering in the cold. And this reminds me of the Indian Removal Act, man. When they were actually cold, it was basically like a blizzard in that Indian Removal Act. The Trail of Tears, when you go into that history, which Lord willing I may go into it, you know, in another segment, going to the Trail of Tears and all the people that was dying on that trail, bloodshed, babies having to be left and dying, and there was no remorse. They couldn't turn back to their land because they got kicked out. That's why, like I said, it was an Indian Removal Act. And they didn't say, all right, it's cold, let's wait till the summertime, let's wait till the spring for you know, you to be in a better condition. They deliberately did that because they knew it was such a harsh route to take and that they were gonna die on that trip, man. Micah 2:10, this is not our rest. This place is going to destroy us. This white man has been set up over us to try to deliberately destroy us. All right? And that's a fact. Verse 10, they cause him to go naked without clothing, and they take away the sheep from the hungry. Right. And who is they? Who is he? Who is that individual that's talking about Esau, the so-called white man? I'm just jumping around on this because it's a lot of meat. Verse 14, the murderer rising with the light killeth the poor and needy, and the night is as a thief. Who is he that stole these different lands? I just pulled it up earlier. And who is he that's the murderer, rising early to take the tribes down? The so-called white man. There is no, scripture says, if not, who and where is he? Job 9:24. You know, so this is the time for us to raise up in the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah, man. Know who our enemy is, fight against him through the spirit of the Lord, and pray that the Lord comes in return and brings a harsh judgment, a very extremely harsh judgment on the so-called white man and the other nations that were in allegiance to this wickedness, man. You know, so this was just a lesson I wanted to go into through the spirit. Hopefully you brothers will edify. I'm going to end it by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Shema Shah by Hashem Kakwadash. Double honor to the apostle and elder of the great millstone. Shalom, my king.